Welcome to the longest running quiz show in the area. Categories. High school students compete to answer questions on topics from art to science, history to current events. And now, here's your categories host, John Bartell.
Hi, welcome to Categories. Today we're bringing you a great intra-district matchup between the Shawnee Mission North Indians, coached by Lisa Breidenbach, versus the Shawnee Mission West Vikings, coached by Pam Creed. Let's go ahead and meet our contestants. First from North.
I'm Tyler and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Antonio and I'm a senior.
I'm Thomas and I'm a freshman.
I'm Arlo and I'm a freshman.
I'm Brian and I'm a freshman.
And our competitors from West.
I'm Ellen and I'm a senior.
I'm Blake, I'm a senior.
I'm Nick, I'm a junior.
I'm Dane, I'm a freshman.
I'm Joseph, I'm a junior.
All right, now that we've met our contestants, we're ready to begin our first round here on Categories, in which each team will take turns answering questions. If a team responds correctly, they earn a point for their squad. If they answer incorrectly, the other team will get a chance to steal the category. We did a coin toss before we started taping, and it was won by the Vikings of Shawnee Mission West. So the first category for you, Vikings, is general knowledge. In one series of folk tales, there are shoemakers and the richest creatures of fairyland. They are generally connected with Ireland and are believed to have hidden great treasures. Name these little imps. Blake?
Leprechaun?
They are leprechauns. Coming over to you to North, literature is your category. In which Shakespearean play does the word fear appear more than any other play? Antonio?
Hamlet.
It is not Hamlet. Vikings, chance to steal this literature category. In which Shakespearean play does the word fear appear more than any other play? Nick?
Macbeth.
It is Macbeth. Staying with you, Vikings, this time U.S. geography. Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia, and Kentucky are technically not states. What are they? Blake?
Commonwealths?
Commonwealths, very good. Indians, science, medicine is your category. Lymphomas are tumors that cause enlargements of lymph nodes in the spleen. This is a common symptom of leukemia. What cells in defective form cause lymphomas? Antonio?
T cells.
Cannot accept T cells. Vikings, chance to steal this science medicine category. Lymphomas are tumors that cause enlargements of lymph nodes and the spleen. This is a common symptom of leukemia. What cells in a defective form cause lymphomas? Nick?
White blood cells.
They are white blood cells, yes. Vikings, staying with you, sports is the category. Name the city for the location of the famous Kentucky Derby. Blake?
Belmont?
It is not Belmont. Indians, chance to steal this sports category. Name the city that is the location of the famous Kentucky Derby. Tyler?
Lexington.
It is not Lexington, Louisville. Louisville. Indians, we are staying with you. World geography is the category. Which landlocked European nation is bordered by Italy, France, Austria? Tyler?
Switzerland.
It is Switzerland. Vikings, coming back to you. Government is the category. What, other than money, does the U.S. government's Bureau of Printing and Engraving make? Time on that. Indians, chance to steal this government question. What, other than money, does the U.S. government's Bureau of Printing and Engraving make? Arlo?
Coins?
Cannot take coins. Stamps. Stamps is the answer. Indians, we are staying with you. Economics is the category. What is the economic term for seller against seller and buyer against buyer? Tyler?
Competition.
Competition. Very good. Vikings, math, specifically geometry, is your category. A triangle has an area of 30 square units. If you doubled the base and halved the altitude, what would the area be? Joseph?
30 square units.
It would be 30 square units again. Very good. Indians, Roman history is your category. Who was the first Roman to have his image on coins? Tyler?
Caesar Augustus.
Cannot accept that. Vikings, chance to steal this Roman history question. Who was the first Roman to have his image on coins? Nick?
Julius Caesar.
It is Julius Caesar, yes. Sticking with you, Vikings, this time U.S. history, and it's a famous quotation. What assassinated American leader said this? We shall have to repent in this generation, not so much for the evil deeds of wicked people, but for the appalling silence of good people. Blake.
Abraham Lincoln.
It was not Abraham Lincoln. Indians, chance to steal this U.S. history question. It's a famous quotation. What assassinated American leader said, we shall have to repent in this generation, not so much for the evil deeds. Tyler?
William McKinley.
It was not William McKinley. It was Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. North, staying with you, sports. Starting in 1956, this award is presented annually to the player selected as the Pitcher of the Year. Arlo?
Cy Young Award.
It is the Cy Young Award. Back to you, Vikings. This time it's a science terminology question. What can be described as Gaussian, eclipse, animalistic, sidereal, or tropical? Indians, coming back to you with science terminology. What can be described as Gaussian, eclipse, animalistic, sidereal, or tropical? Brian?
Rainforest.
Cannot accept rainforest. It's a year. Any one of those can be described by a year. Indians, general knowledge is the category. We're coming back to you. What is the crust of a cheese called? Brian?
The zest.
It is not the zest. Vikings, chance to steal this general knowledge question. What is the crust of a cheese called? Blake?
The rind.
It is the rind. Very good. Staying with you, Vikings, current events is the category. Recently, a 6.6 magnitude earthquake hit the central part of this country, near the same region where nearly 300 people died in a quake in August. Blake?
Italy.
It is Italy. Indians, another literature question, this time terminology. What literary term describes a humorous scene or incident in a serious story, introduced by the writer to ease tension or to intensify the rest of the play? Thomas?
Comic relief.
It is comic relief. Coming back to you, Vikings, language, specifically grammar. There are four grammatical kinds of sentence. What type of sentence has two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses? Ellen?
Compound complex.
Compound complex. Very good. North, math, terminology is your category. What is defined in mathematics as the power to which a given base must be raised to produce a given number? Brian?
The exponent.
It is not the exponent. Vikings, chance to steal this math terminology question. What is defined in mathematics? Nick?
The logarithm.
It is the logarithm. Very good. Fine arts for you, Vikings. The Song of Roland, the most famous French epic, centers around which medieval ruler? Time on that. North, chance to steal this fine arts category. The Song of Roland, the most famous French epic, centers around which medieval ruler? Tyler?
Charlemagne.
It is Charlemagne. Indians, next category for you is vocabulary. A rejoinder or reply to an argument in a debate is called what?
A rebuttal.
It is a rebuttal. Switching back to you, Vikings, literature, poets. Little of this ancient poet's work have survived, although many consider her to be the greatest woman poet the world has ever known. Plato called her the 10th muse. Name her. Nick?
Sappho.
Sappho. Very good. Indians, current events is the category. Recently, heavily armed police raided a camp which was set up by Native Americans protesting the building of which oil pipeline and arrested about 140 people. We are looking for the name of the pipeline. Tyler?
The North Dakota Access Pipeline.
We can accept that, yes. Vikings, music is the category, and it's multiple choice. While England and France set the tone for literature in the Age of Reason, the great musicians came from Spain. Joseph.
Austria.
Sorry, I cannot accept that. Indians, chances to steal this music category. While England and France set the tone for literature in the Age of Reason, the great musicians came from Spain and Italy, Germany and Austria, Russia and Sweden, or Belgium and Holland. Tyler.
Germany and Austria.
Germany and Austria. Very good. North, you do get the next question. It is world geography. Name the largest city in Pakistan. Antonio.
Karachi.
Karachi. Very good. Coming back to you, Vikings, general knowledge is the category. What British hairdresser invented the geometric cut in the 1960s? Indians, general knowledge is the category. Your chance to steal. What British hairdresser invented the geometric cut in the 1960s? Tyler?
Elizabeth Arden.
It is not Elizabeth Arden. It's Vidal Sassoon. Your parents may know that answer, or your grandparents may know that answer. All right, coming back to you, Indians. History, explorers is the category. The English claims to North America were based on his discoveries. In 1497, he landed on the North American coast and took possession in the name of King Henry VII. Name him. Antonio.
Christopher Columbus.
It is not Christopher Columbus. Vikings, chance to steal this history explorers question. The English claims to North America were based on his discoveries. Blake.
John Cabot.
It is John Cabot. Vikings, U.S. history is the category. We're going to go ahead and finish it out since I gave away the category. What did George Washington deliver at New York's Fraunces Tavern? Blake?
His farewell speech.
His farewell address. Very good. That siren does denote the end of our first half, and we have a score of Shawnee Mission West 13, Shawnee Mission North 9. Before we go into our second round, we are going to go to a member of each of the teams, and they're going to deliver a campus update. And first we have from Shawnee Mission North, we have Antonio. What is happening over on Johnson Drive?
Well, this past weekend, our girls cross-country team took second at state at Rimrock Farm. Our football team beat Lawrence out for the 6A regional title, and we'll be going up against Shawnee Mission East this Friday. And our cross-country teams, boys and girls, will be traveling to the Nike Heartland Regional up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota to compete.
All right, so lots of good stuff. Things outside the community, like going statewide and nationwide. Pretty good stuff. All right, and it looks like, Ellen, you are giving the update for the Vikings. What's happening at Shawnee Mission West?
So we are currently 1 week into our 3-week-long canned food drive, whose proceeds will be going to the Johnson County Christmas Bureau. And our winter sports are starting up, so that includes basketball, bowling, and boys swim. And performances for our fall play Pippin begin on Wednesday.
All right, good stuff. All right, as we head into our second round, it is the lightning round. And as tradition here on Categories, our lightning round starts with our look and listen question, which we will display to our contestants here in the studio through a monitor, and we will be displaying it for you, those of you watching at home. The look and listen question is worth 2 points, and once someone rings in, we have to answer from that point forward. We cannot rewind and start over. So here we go, both teams, hands on buzzers. This is the look and listen question. Within 5 years, when did the following event occur?
To many, success or failure of this experiment depended on the first president. On April 30th at Federal Hall in New York City, George Washington was sworn into office as the first president of the United States, and the
Tyler.
1789.
It is exactly 1789. Nice job. Touch of irony there with the farewell address being the last question of the first round. All right, so here we go with the remainder of our second round. It's the lightning round in which questions are placed on the floor for either team to answer. If the team responds correctly, of course, they earn a point for their team. If they respond incorrectly, the other team still gets a chance to steal the category. Both teams, science, chemistry is the category. Solutions of weak acids are largely molecular. Solutions of strong acids are predominantly what? Ellen?
Ionic.
Ionic. Literature for both teams. In Ira Levine's novel, the wives underwent a personality change when they moved to what town? Nick?
Stepford.
Stepford. Nice job. Music for both teams. The sound quality of these two orchestral instruments is almost indistinguishable, even to some instrumentalists. One of them is the cornet. What is the other? Tyler?
Trumpet.
The trumpet. Government economics is the next category. What do we call acts by at least one and often more countries, usually economic in nature, that coerce another country to live up to its international obligations? Nick?
Sanctions.
Sanctions. Vocabulary. If we attend an incipient rally, would it be violent, dull, threatening, or just beginning? Antonio?
Just beginning.
It is just beginning. Geography, referring to climate, is this category. What word describes a strong, hot wind occurring in Africa? Antonio?
Dry.
I cannot accept dry. Vikings, you have a chance to steal this climate question. What word describes a strong, hot wind occurring in Africa? It is called a sirocco. Sirocco. U.S. geography. Name any three of the 4 largest cities in Tennessee. Blake.
Nashville, Memphis, and Murfreesboro.
Cannot accept that. Indians, chance to steal this U.S. geography question. Name any 3 of the 4 largest cities in Tennessee. Brian.
Memphis, Nashville, and Chattanooga.
In Chattanooga. Knoxville would be the other. Knoxville would be the other. Literature for both teams. In the book Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, name the March Sisters. Joe, Meg, Amy, and Beth. Easier answer than question. All right. Science, astronomy for both teams. Name the 17th century astronomer and mathematician who for the first time applied Newton's law of gravity to solve a specific question in astronomy. Antonio.
Galileo.
It is not Galileo. Vikings, chance to steal this astronomy question. Name the 17th century astronomer and mathematician who for the first time applied Newton's law of gravity to solve a specific question in astronomy. Blake.
Copernicus.
It is not Copernicus. Edmund Halley. Edmund Halley. History for both teams. What was Abraham Lincoln's occupation before he went into politics? Antonio.
A lawyer.
He was a lawyer. General knowledge for both teams. What breed of dog is often called the royal dog of Japan because emperors kept them as pets? Tyler?
Shih Tzu.
It is not a Shih Tzu. Vikings, chance to steal this general knowledge question. What breed of dog is often called the royal dog of Japan? Dane?
Akita.
It is the Akita. Science for both teams. A structure found in mammals but not in reptiles. So found in mammals but not in reptiles. Lung, brain, diaphragm, or ventricle? Antonio.
The ventricle.
It is not the ventricle. Sorry, cannot accept that. Vikings, chance to steal this science category. Dane?
Diaphragm.
It is the diaphragm. With that answer, you've opened up a bit of a lead. Shawnee Mission West 18, Shawnee Mission North 15. Military history for both teams. What army did the Germans defeat at Tannenberg and Masurian Lakes in 1914? Antonio.
The French army.
Cannot accept that. Vikings, chance to steal this military history question. What army did the Germans defeat at Tannenberg and Masurian Lakes in 1914? Dane.
The Russian army.
It is the Russian army. U.S. geography. Discovered in 1699, it is now crossed by the world's longest highway built over water, and it is connected to both the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico. Name this large, shallow lake in Louisiana. Tyler?
Lake Pontchartrain.
That's correct. U.S. government for both teams. Congress can propose one by a 2/3 vote. Brian?
Amendment.
An amendment. Very good. Classical music. Which of Beethoven's symphonies was dubbed the Eroica? Antonio?
His fifth.
It is not the fifth. Vikings, chance to steal this classical music category. Which of Beethoven's symphonies was dubbed the Eroica? The third. The third. Spelling is the next category. How do you spell immaculate? Antonio?
IMMACULATE.
That is correct. Vocabulary for both teams. What two-word term applied to certain leading American businessmen of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, including Cornelius? Nick?
Robert Barron.
That is correct. Musical theater for both teams. What was the first musical that Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein wrote together? It was Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Current events. Name the FBI director who told Congress.
James Comey.
James Comey is correct. Science, geology for both teams. In painting, it is used as an ingredient of some oil varnishes. Name this fossil resin derived from various trees and found mainly on the southern shores of the Baltic. Antonio?
Sap.
It is not sap. Cannot accept that. Vikings, chance to steal this geology question. In painting, it is used as an ingredient of some oil varnishes. Name this fossil resin derived from various trees and found mainly. Nick?
Amber.
It is amber. Very good. And you have a 2-point lead, 21-19. Name the fourth largest ocean. Blake?
The Arctic.
It is the Arctic Ocean. History, this time trials. Arrange these famous trial defendants in chronological order. Galileo, Sir Thomas More, and the Salem witches. Tyler?
Galileo, Sir Thomas More, Salem witches.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Vikings. Joseph?
Galileo, the Salem witches, Sir Thomas More.
I'm sorry, that too is incorrect. Sir Thomas More was the first one, Galileo, then the witches. General knowledge for both teams. What instructions do flight attendants give regarding oxygen masks and their use when traveling with small children? Blake.
Put the mask on yourself first and then the children.
Very good. Math is the next category. Which of these fractions is the least in value? 14/25ths, 19/60ths, or 53/100ths? Joseph.
19/60ths.
19/60ths, very good. Famous quotations, this time dealing with sports. What pro football coach once warned his players, if you aren't fired with enthusiasm, you'll be fired with enthusiasm? Brian.
Madden.
It is not Madden. Vikings chance to steal this famous quotations in sports. What pro football coach once warned his players, if you aren't fired with enthusiasm, you'll be fired with enthusiasm? Dane.
Lombardi.
It is Lombardi. U.S. government for both teams. Established in 1935, this program requires the participation of 90% of all U.S. workers. What is it? Brian?
Social Security.
It is Social Security. Art, painters, to be specific. The industrial age painting, Men and Machinery, was painted by one of Mexico's most prominent painters. Name him. It was Diego Rivera. Diego Rivera. Another literature question for both teams. In what novel does John Dos Passos draw a gloomy picture of life in New York City during the 1920s? Manhattan Transfer. Manhattan Transfer. Science, specifically birds. What is the heaviest flying bird of prey? Thomas.
Bald eagle.
It is not the bald eagle. Vikings chance to steal this birds category. What is the heaviest flying bird of prey? Joseph.
Vulture.
It is not the vulture, it's the condor. The condor. But that siren does denote the end of our contest, and we had a great game today. Shawnee Mission West does come out on top with a final score of 25. Shawnee Mission North 20. Please join us again next time here on Categories as we will continue to bring you the best and brightest minds of high school students all throughout Johnson County.